conversation and it's not recorded as a podcast. Did you ever have a conversation?
Oh, white man philosophy.
G'day, and welcome to the Vibe Union podcast. The only podcast that lathers itself up in sanitizer and writhes around like a little beetle and says, "Oh, finally." How are you, Jason?
I'm good. I don't know what that was.
I don't know why you're wearing a helmet.
Safety.
Because we have no idea what we're doing, and this is going to be a crash course in improvisation.
Because I'm so random. No, these are actually really annoying. Nah, fuck, I'll leave it on.
Yeah, it's all tangled up in your beard.
Yeah, my beard, my big beefy beard.
Welcome to the Vibe Union podcast.
Yes, before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We're here in Fitzroy. We're very lucky to come here every 2 weeks, do poetry and podcasts and stuff, conducting ourselves on stolen land, land where treaties have never been signed, sovereignty have never been ceded. Australia's the only country in the Commonwealth that hasn't signed some sort of treaty with First Nations and Indigenous people. We are visitors on this land as colonisers, and the world is a crazy place right now, and I think we're just very lucky to be able to be here and feel safe in on land that doesn't belong to us. And I also just wanted to acknowledge the Palawa people of Lutruwita, which is the First Nations people of Tasmania, where I unfortunately grew up. There's someone at the door?
Is that...
I don't know.
Oh, hang on a second.
Do you want me to riff? You want to figure it out?
Yeah, you can riff for a minute.
Okay, here we go. Hello. So I'm going to riff Rise asked me not to be so close to the microphone. How are we all doing? This is a Vibe Union podcast, if you're new to this. I'm not very good. I didn't say anything.
So we are bringing an end... A temporary end.
Straight into it.
Because in Vibe Union...
Nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever. Everything is temporary.
Sorry, can't be. So
we run...
7Ks a day.
No, not in the slightest. Ongoing events. Whenever we've been running events, it's always been ongoing events, which has been really, really fun and really, really good. And we're going to continue. We're just continuing with that with poetry and what have you. But there's always comes a time with a series of events that we have to kind of pull the plug or put a pin in it.
Yes.
Temporarily.
So we're going with putting a plug in it.
I'm putting a pin in the plug.
Yeah, there we go.
Have you seen the meme format of the Queen going with the knife?
In the toaster.
I think this will fit lovely. Let me just try this. Oh,
me at the smallest inconvenience. I think I might just put this in here. My reality.
So that's what we're doing. We're putting a knife in a toaster that is a couple of our events. Yeah, we're putting a pin in it. I don't want to say we're ending particular events because that's not the case. Like, I always like to kind of have series in the back pocket if we feel like bringing them back at some point.
Hiatus.
A hiatus.
This is too much.
It looks uncomfortable.
The jokes run its course.
And so, we're going to wrap up with Dusty Sessions and Project Legacy coming up. And I guess I don't know. We don't really have much of a plan of what we're going to talk about.
So we're just telling you that we're...
But why not talk about kind of the burnout of such a thing?
Burnout of events, doing events.
Yeah, of running these events. Of planning... Doing these things for so long. Doing these events for so long. Dusty Sessions have been running for like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, you had a hiatus for a bit. We had a hiatus.
Had a hiatus for a little bit and brought it back.
Yeah.
I think there's a what was the word? An anxiety, an unnecessary anxiety. Doing something for that long and pulling the plug feels like, oh no, we've failed. We failed this project that we've started.
But I think with that, because we've got big things coming. Watch this space. But I think if there's difference between pulling the plug, putting the pin in the plug, or whatever, and that if you're not doing anything else to replace it, sort of thing. What is going to happen? Who knows? Mystery Vibe Union events that could happen.
We can talk about what we're going to do, but we'll talk about it soon.
I don't know. I just putting some suspense in there.
Yeah.
You know, get the viewers. Can't believe she did that. Anyway, but yeah, I think there's a difference between just going, nah, fuck it, we're going to stop and just hibernate under a rock and not do anything. Whereas this, I think it's a choice made that's like, okay, well, if it's not, because you know I've chatted before off the mic because we do talk outside.
Yeah,
outside.
We try and keep it to a minimum because everything is content.
Yeah, we're kind of like Penn and Teller. They never talk. They never interacted outside.
They don't interact on stage. Like,
but that's it. So they never hung out together or not.
Really?
Yeah, that's why we last so long. We were friends, but we didn't really do.
Fascinating.
We didn't hang out together or anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if we want Vibe Union to continue, you and I need to stop being friends.
That's not where I was going with that. I was making
that's
a
what
joke.
I'm taking away.
Okay, fine. Fuck you. You're the one that can't talk then. So I think I would explode if I couldn't talk. Joke. For the non-watch, I would say
you said that you couldn't even riff while I was gone for all of 10 seconds before, and now you don't want me to speak any further.
Yeah. Listen, don't... Shut up. But yeah, so I think it's a difference between just cancelling everything and going, no, we're done, blah, 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 instead of going, well, no, it's I'll just say tactical retreat. That's not the thing. It's more of a... It's a calculated decision that one can make or whatever, and you go, okay, well, it's not viable. That kind of, or not, that kind of thing. It's sort of like if it's not, I don't know, bringing what it initially was bringing, then
if it's not bringing joy.
Well, I was going to say that, but I'm like, it could. I mean, joy is. Joy is a great thing.
But it's not the only thing we get out of this.
Yeah, it's like if you're not getting, I think we've noticed if we're not doing things that it's like at the end of the night we go, fuck yes, that was good. Yeah. That's what we need. I'm so glad we did that. Yeah. Because we did the Poets for Palestine 2 weeks ago, and it was a bit stressful setting it up. You know, it was a quick turnaround. Yeah. And excuse me. We there was a lot to happen, blah blah blah, and last minute things, and I was like, my brain collapsed for a little bit there, and then like we got here, we got here, it was all sorted, everyone loved it, it was packed house, a lot of sweaty bodies, just because anyway, that's irrelevant.
But at the end of the night,
yes, we came out. Everyone loved it. Yeah. It ran smoothly. Yeah. We got the feature poets. You know, they appreciated it, and we appreciated them coming. And it
radio talk, like poetry in general, is the one we've spoken about this before, about just regardless of how stressed out on the nights we get or whatever happens, every single time I go, this one I'll keep doing forever. Yeah. This one I'll keep doing forever.
Yeah, I think you and I have come here many times. We're like both flat and just like...
Much like today, I think, evident on the podcast.
We've got a bit of a juxtaposition in our energy levels. Yeah.
I've seen a few very big YouTubers recently, and this has probably been an ongoing trend for like a few years, right? But quitting, but due to burnout. Big YouTubers coming out and talking about, oh man, I'm burnt out, I'm taking a step back. And I think the culture around it is changing, where people are much more receptive to that now. But I've had the thought before of like, it's funny that I feel almost like a sense of guilt, the thought of taking a step back due to burnout, because we're not big YouTubers, you know, because we're not making a lot of money, or I don't know, there's a certain scale to it that feels like...
I think there's a more justifiable reason to have the burnout if we're not big YouTubers, because well, look, I'm assuming you're talking about Matt Pat. Yeah, Game Theory, you know, millions and millions of dollars. He's sweet. Yeah. So I mean, you know, good on everyone's done their YouTube channels and got, you know, build it up to a massive audience. You can go, I'm burnt out now. Look at what's his face, PewDiePie. He's like, So, Mum, if you're watching, PewDiePie was once the biggest YouTuber. He's from Sweden, now lives in Japan. Anyway, he was like, well, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm going to upload whenever I want. So I think it's more justifiable for people that aren't making money or a lot of money. They just go, right, burnout is there because it's doing so much on top of all the other stuff to keep yourself alive. Which, I mean, burnout goes both ways, you know. If it's, I mean, also you're in a very lucky, privileged position as YouTube. You're like, right, this is my job. I'm done my job at 35. Instead of going, I mean, not all YouTubers, hashtag not all YouTubers. I think it's, but if you're a creative, it's like, you see the other side of it. It's like, oh, keep grinding, blah, blah, blah. You know, so-and-so didn't make it till they're 45. Keep on the grind. Whereas if you look at the other side of creative stuff with the YouTube, it's like you can start, you know, you can start early, start whatever. There's just a bit of... Well, my point is you can burn out as someone who doesn't earn a lot of money through what they're doing. Seems to be more justifiable. Well, I guess justifiable both ways. But yeah, if something's not working, you go, why is, you know... I mean, we're not in it to roll around in millions of dollars. It'd be lovely. Just
to do it more, to do it bigger and better is the idea, I guess. But yeah, I guess like when you're doing a smaller creative project, even like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, I've done it. I know you, you've talked about how you try and write a new poem for every event, right? And I think a lot of us set ourselves those kind of goals. There's a lot of people that come through to the Poetry Night that I've seen do like, oh, I'm going to post a new poem every single week or every single day, you know. And that's always been my tactic, is to, which is I think it was why Vibe Union does ongoing events, because it's just my natural tendency is to go like, oh, if we're going to do one, we might as just do it every 2 months for every single thing. And then there's a part of me that goes, oh, if we miss a month, if we stop doing that thing, then did it actually fail? Which of course is nonsense. The fact that it existed at all is fucking fantastic.
But I think, just off that, but I think the fact that you and I are still thinking about what could happen, like you've in a nice way, you've shot down a few of the things I've in the past. Like, oh, we should do this, and it's sort of like let's stay back. And I'm like, fair enough, totally fair. But it's that we're still both going. How about we try this? What about this? How about this? As we're still talking about, we're still debating whether or not certain things are going to be good or bad for us. Okay, well, if we do this, what's the workload like? Stuff. So we're still ruminating about opportunities and stuff. It's not like we're going, oh, but Dusty's done, project's done. We'll just stick to poetry.
Well, then I guess actually that's so it's actually such an important part of feeling inspired to do things. Is to then realize, if I'm going to do this thing, do I need to cull anything else in order to pull that off? Which I think is what we've just experienced, because we've got an idea for an event. It's an event we've done before. We're bringing back an event called Tones. It's essentially our take on Tiny Desk. I've always wanted to have my own Tiny Desk gig, and we're bringing that back because an opportunity presented itself to do it at a venue that we like. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. However, if we do this, we're already doing this amount. We're already doing too much. The only way that's going to work is if we pull the plug on some projects that we're already feeling a bit burnt out on. And there's part of my brain that says, no, you can do it all. You can do it more.
Same.
You can do more.
Same. But then I think it takes that kind of, I think you and I learned over the last year or so, but input from a couple of people, just been like, reel it back, just sort of, because you and I have had a conversation, we've both gotten really excited about stuff, and we're just like, keep going, we do this, and then eventually both of us go, how are we going to do all this stuff? And we go, right, let's reel it back, and we've got what we got. And I had something else I forgot now, so you can talk.
Just feeling comfortable measuring what is worth it. I even feel this with like, it took me a long time to realize that, like, because I barely work, but I can work. Like
same.
am a barista, and I'm a half decent one. And if I want to work full time, I can work full time. and I can't stand it. I can't.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before that like I can't measure things in money. It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems too intangible, but time is really tangible to me. And so time feels more like my currency if I am working as time that I could be spent doing something else. However, so I figured that was how everyone felt. Like, why are you working full time? Isn't that just so much time that you're not using for other things? And then I spoke to some people, realized like some people just stress. It's actually a kind of both the privileged position that I don't need as much money to live due to various circumstances, but also the fact that my
father's an oil baron,
he's an emerald miner from South Africa. I never mentioned that. Oh, interesting.
You brought out a car, the Wrestler.
Pardon?
The Wrestler, the car. I was just going off Tesla, Wrestler.
Yeah.
And then I realised the wrestler is actually a word.
Yeah.
I was like, what letters are close to T? And I went with R. Anyway, the Zestler? No.
But I'm actually kind of, I feel quite lucky that my brain works that way as well, that I can look at a very low figure in my bank account and go, well, see what happens. But I've got all this time to do things.
That's a good way to,
But it's important to me to kind of, to weigh up, like, is doing an extra shift worth the time that I could be spent doing other things?
Yeah, that's true.
And I guess just deciding where my stress levels want to be. Do I want to be stressing about money
or time,
or do I want to be stressing about a lack of time? And that's only for me, and it works different for other people. Some people really stress about having a lack of cash, which is very fucking fair.
But I think that's the downfall of living in a capitalist society.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
we can get all into that if we want to.
I mean, I like bringing up the word capitalism and
I prefer late stage capitalism.
Late stage capitalism.
But I think that mentality applies to other things. And how many people do we have on this podcast or talk to here that come to Radio Talk that will say like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this, and it's like, I never want to tell people to rein anything in, but I think it is important to feel comfortable looking at something, even if if it should be something that's just purely romantically just creative and a blessing that you get to do it at all. Some of those things are still maybe a bit too much of a drain. And two of our events at the moment, I think, are too much of a drain at the moment.
Yeah.
But they were great at one point.
Well, we were saying before, like if you finishing the night off, this is what we're saying, we finish it off poetry and whatever, and you go, well, it's amazing. But we're talking about like we're finishing other nights, and it was like we wanted to enjoy it, but there was too much other stuff happening for us to really enjoy at the end of the night. So it's like, do we want to keep doing this every 2 months or whatever? Yeah. Whatever, hypothetically, we had 3 gigs on a month, whatever, if it was viable, and every single one of them was.
Which we've done before, and we'll do again.
If we had more people helping out, get in touch.
Subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, just give us lots of money.
We also need a new laptop if that also sways you.
Yeah, so Rye's on having to make an OnlyFans, so the only way is that write some fan fiction and we might get the ball rolling.
I would read fan fiction. If that was my OnlyFans role, is to maybe like you can striptease and then I will read, do monologue, fan fiction over top of it.
There you go. Done.
But I need it written. I'm not writing it.
Yeah, no, we're not going to write our own fan fiction. That would be creepy.
That doesn't make any sense.
I definitely don't have any on my phone. No.
At that point, we just fuck. if you're writing your own fan fiction.
Okay. Please take me out for dinner first, right?
I think Vibe Union is one long dinner.
Oh, that's the end goal, right? And all the events are finished. We can talk about that off podcast.
The only way we're going to make money is if we talk about it on podcast.
Okay.
The other aspect of this was thinking about thinking about. I'm really bad at thinking long-term goals. Besides like kind of abstract ones of like be famous, be successful. It's kind of really abstract. Doesn't really mean what does that really mean? But like
we've talked about that many times. Really.
I know.
Yeah.
But it especially comes up for me when we start pulling the plug on certain projects. It feels like Oh, but what if this one was the one? What if this one was the one that was going to skyrocket us to
So
success,
that's
or
where
get
I think,
everyone's
yeah,
attention?
that's where you and I really differ, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sick of this. It's kind of like we've given it a good shot.
Yeah.
It's not very much disaster or so. I'm just going, no, fuck it, it's done. Like, it's not going to work. Fuck it.
No.
No. But then I go, yeah. I'm just like, well, no, it's scrapped. Oh, beer and podcast. It's scrapped because it needed to be scrapped. Doesn't matter.
If you can go through all the podcasts and find where you've mentioned that on every single one, we can do like a little 30-second like beer and podcast.
Well, that's what I do. I want to do it every time you like.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah. That's a lot of.
It's a lot of work.
But have a lot of time. Going back to what we're talking about.
But is it worth that time? That time could
So all I can think about is the movie In Time, which was a terrible movie, and they paid with everything in time. So Justin, what's his name, Timberlake,
Really?
and the rich people had a fuck ton of time.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I do know this.
What's his face got given infinite time, and then you pay everything in time, and he gave his friend too much time. And his friend was an alcoholic, and
it sounds really dumb. It makes sense.
But all the puns were like they were making time. Was it no, it wasn't a Shyamalan. I don't know who did it.
It just sounds like an
I
allegory for late stage
I
capitalism.
watched a couple of movie reviews,
but
on
without any delightful nuance. It sounds very.
It was just rich. It was
ham-fisted.
that stereotypical post-apocalyptic poor people over here. To get to the rich people, you have to go through stuff. You know.
I watched a great video about like how anti-capitalism content in capitalism actually works in favor of capitalism because it basically gets it all out of your system. It's like you watch Wall-E.
Oh yeah,
you know, and you go like, yeah, we're gonna fight.
Forget the last part of Wall-E. Yeah,
and it's sort of it absolves everyone of their capitalist tendencies, and it's like, see, in the end, the Earth returned to normal, so we can fuck it up, and then we piss off for a little while, watch some TV, and have those big gulps of the big drinks, and then you come back and it's all sweet. I was like, that's a terrible fucking message. It's shite.
No, I think we just need another pandemic. So then because the admissions went down, animals took over, and
you get to stay home all the time.
So
as much as it was depressing, I'd take it. Someone said to me the other day, like, I feel bad, but is it weird to think that I'd love like 2 months of the year to be locked down in the middle of winter?
No.
I was like, no, I think we've all had that idea. We're all so on board. Absolutely.
Just 2 months of the year, everyone gets a lot their 2 months. And if it aligns up with other people, then it's great. But it's just like, no, I'm taking my 2 months. And then, sure, there's some places that do that in winter when it's, I don't know.
It's like a 2-month siesta in the middle of the
some
year.
northern places in Scandinavia or something, surely they're like, oh.
Yeah. It's just
I don't know.
The thought that you just go all year long, and then you get to like we just came out of Christmas and New Year's and what have you, and like that was that our break? That's just more stressful. It's a really
well, the thing
bad
is, here's your
end
lot
to
of
the
time.
year.
Here's your lot of time to have off. Christmas, New Year's.
Go surround yourself with extended family
do
for like
whatever.
fucking 5 days or some shit.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if you celebrate Christmas, if you don't, so here's your lot of time. You've got what some people call the Gooch week between Christmas and New Year's.
I hate that.
You have
I think
that.
gooch is my least favorite part of the body as well, just name wise anyway.
It is fun to say.
I hate it. Despise that name.
I remember there was when they used to play international rules, so Gaelic football and AFL, they mixed together, and there was this scrawny redhead on there, and apparently it was the best Gaelic football, and apparently his nickname was the Gooch. I don't know. The commentators kept, anyway. So you have that week, and then everyone's like, "Yeah, just chill." And he's like, "Oh, you're back on holidays in 2 weeks." You're sort of like,
"I've got a plan actually for this. I've got a plan for this year." I think now we're just talking bullshit. Let's just continue down that path.
10 more Gooch weeks.
That talking with Kelsey G. Lord, what do you call it?
7'6" of pure folk music?
Yeah. Talking about how like every fucking year this happens. Every year winter comes along and you talk to all your mates. You know, have you noticed that like every year winter comes around?
I do.
I love it. Actually.
Almost as many times as our birthdays.
I'm a big winter fan. I fucking hate summer. I hate being hot. I hate being sweaty. And I hate having to wear smaller, like less clothes as well. I want to.
Well, that's going to suck for OnlyFans.
That's true. Well, that's why I'm saying I don't want to be. I'm not going to be on camera. I will only do.
Sorry. Anyway, yes.
I don't want to get naked.
The folk giant.
The folk giant. Talking about how every single year you get depressed. And you talk to your mates and they go, oh man, I'm really depressed. I don't know why. And it's always in the dead of winter. And it's like, it's because it's the dead of fucking winter. We all get seasonal depression.
And
at least all your artist mates.
And
right?
you're a little elf skipping down the street going, I'm fully clothed. Fully clothed. I mean, like, I've got more clothes. I don't know if it's fully clothed.
I'm gleeful every time I put clothes on. Oh my.
Just got your scarf. You're like... He's walking down the street like, I've got a scarf on. It's
anything
so cool.
less than a scarf and a parka is underdressed. It's not fully clothed.
Anyway, just enjoy that image, whatever you want to do from that.
I get seasonal depression, no doubt. I still prefer that.
I'd rather be cold and sad instead of warm and sad.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
When it's really sunny out and I feel like I should be doing things, but I'm inside, I hate that feeling.
Yeah, I tried to go out. I was like, I'm going to go for a walk, maybe sit in the park. Got my notebook. I might write there for a little while. Walked out, 10 minutes into the walk, I went, it's 32 degrees, fuck this. Was it yesterday? Yeah, when it was really hot yesterday.
I mean, our ancestry is clearly to the most dreary part of the world.
Yes.
we're not supposed to be here.
I was like...
I had a line a little while back that like, if you get sunburnt in your own backyard, then you're not supposed to be here.
Oh, profound. I mean, I get sunburned looking at bright lights, so...
yeah, I'm sure even in England...
For those who only listen to the podcast, I have red hair.
And we're both impossibly pale.
Yes, and...
But yeah, so my idea is... Because I've never been big into like... not celebration, but rather like... festivities, in a sense, of like...
Like forced festivities or like...
Yeah, forced festivities. Things like Christmas and things like Easter, you know, fucking Easter comes around, I'm like, why would I give a shit about this? We're not fucking religious. But the idea of celebrating something, I think, is really human and important. And it sucks that a lot of, I guess our Western stuff is very tied to religion, which I guess is probably the case for most of the world in a sense. But my mum used to do solstice celebrations, as many people around the world do still, right? So what I want to do is on the Easter weekend is set up a little mini get-together for me and some mates where we hang out, cook together, and plan some downtime. Give yourself permission for the next few months to chill out, relax, maybe pick up a hobby or something like that, but like be very intentional with your moodier months.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We can go hunt for rabbit eggs, and then just cook them for breakfast. Yeah, start up the day off well, and then
it got my mind going. I'm just like there's probably definitely an element of doing something with your hands, hunting or something like that would trick our little monkey brains into feeling a bit more comfortable with the change of the seasons.
I just went back to when we were for your birthday. We went past that giant goat. I've never seen a goat that big before.
Dude, it was huge.
If you're watching,
he was 7 foot. He was 7'5". Kelsey just managed to get over
pure goat music. No, he was. I'm still believing he was fake because all we saw was the head out of a tin shed.
That's true. We didn't see the body.
Yeah, but
he was move.
We were 200 meters away, 300 meters.
An easy 200.
Easy 200 meters. Men always think it's longer than it is. But the head was just huge. Like it could feed a good family of 3. But yeah, I was.
Is it 3?
3.
That's a good family.
Yeah, good family.
Any bigger than that?
Any bigger than that, it's
bad family.
Yeah, bad family.
Less than that?
Mum, dad, and dog. Dog. Kids are annoying. It was just this big goat.
Fucking hell, mate. Sometimes we need a palate cleanser on this podcast where we're just talking,
this whole
talking
podcast
some
was
shit.
A palate cleanser.
And then,
well, that's what I thought about. That I'm like, because in my head I'm like, imagine barbecuing that. That's the link I had. Imagine cooking that.
And that would be part of the festivities, welcoming
that's where I was going with
the
that.
winter months.
So that would feed you and all your friends.
Well, his mum and his dad and his dog.
Oh, dog. Big goat. Next, what do you got?
I think it's something I would like to do at some point in the future with Vibe Union. We've got too much on at the moment, especially talking about burnout. But things like that, things that are like...
We'll put Ryan's address in the description. And we'll
just come on down
come on down
to my tiny apartment.
We'll just party in the apartment building.
I guess it's
It'll be all
along,
levels of fun.
it's along the same it's along the same lines of acknowledging that like you don't always have the energy, that thing kind of fluctuates, and that you're actually giving yourself permission. I just want to be more. It's just sort of like what we were talking about with Yari last week, last fortnight, was giving yourself permission to just do things
And not be great at them.
Not be critical of yourself.
That's the
Not expect
word.
yourself to fit into the mold of like
Just do stuff.
highly productive, highly successful.
Well, it seems like that's
Yada,
that's what
yada.
a lot of people are doing. I know it's early into 2024.
Yeah.
A lot of people now seem to be like, fuck it, let's just do something. Let's release something. Let's do things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it could just be that everyone goes New Year, new me. I don't know.
It's the theme though. It's definitely been a theme. I've been thinking about that with I don't know if this is entirely true, but I feel like there has been a very slow. Even now, people are still recovering from living through lockdowns, and I think especially as like event organizers, we can see that like there's a certain energy level that people have of. I think people are a lot more.
Oh God, I should have said that I yawned.
A lot more aware of their energy levels than in the past.
Yeah, true.
I think people are a lot more comfortable saying out loud that like, oh, I need more time to myself. I need to.
Because you've been
back down a
able
little
to prioritize your time and energy, and now
Yeah.
you're like, well, now I know what and where is my capacity.
Yeah. I
and
mean,
now
looking
don't
at
need to-
even looking at like something like the 4-day work week has come out of COVID, and obviously it's a fucking fight tooth and nail with companies to get that organized.
we've proven that it works.
It's
though.
proven that it's worked. Yeah, there's no
We
fucking
don't want
doubt
to give
about
workers
that.
rights anyway.
Yeah, giving them any more comfortability is
Same
ill-advised.
as working from home.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
proven that you don't need to work 8 hours a day. You
But
can
giving-
be productive doing 4.
Giving yourself that permission to actually feel your fluctuations and understand your fluctuations and move with
Feel
them
your flux.
rather than fighting it the whole fucking time. Not that you want to give into it either.
Give into the flux.
Like,
I just like saying flux.
because I always think about like if I say something along the lines of this of like, oh, if you just don't feel like it, just don't do it. But there's also times when I've pushed through and I'm very happy that I've pushed through, not feeling
Yeah,
up to
it's
the
kind
thing.
of the.
So I don't know where the boundary is.
It's a tough one because, like, you want to say, like, I want to go to events or a gig or an open mic or something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I got to leave kind of soon. And then you're like,
Yeah.
the time comes, I'm ready, and then I go, don't want to do it. But then I know if I do go, I'm like, yeah, actually, when I actually do go to like an open mic poetry, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad I went, but it's always just every time. It's sort of like, I don't know if that's your point, but that's my input.
I'm exploring the topic.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Who knows?
Who knows? This is what the podcast's about. Just two beefy boys riffing.
I felt this with I went to a gig recently at the Tote, and I've been struggling in big crowds in general recently,
Yes.
and
Yeah, they're gross.
yeah, I'm getting jostled a lot. I hate to be jostled.
You're not a
Um,
jostler.
I'm not a jostler.
Jostler.
I don't like to jostle. I don't like to be jostled.
Words to live by.
I really like.
If you see Ryan in the streets,
arm
don't
length.
jostle the man.
Please don't jostle me.
He's an anti-jostle.
If you see me being jostled, come off.
Step in. Go, hey, don't jostle my man. That word's weird.
As soon as that crowd, and I said as soon, with the people I was with at the time, they're like, I do not expect myself to stay in this crowd. Once it starts filling up, I'm at the back.
My jostle meter has peaked.
100%. As soon as I walked in, also the temperature was rising very quickly, and that's another thing. If I'm getting hot and sweaty and getting jostled, not
Shit's gonna hit the fan.
fucking interested.
Yeah, you're going to be a what are those things called?
That was, you saw a spectre behind me. That was terrifying.
No, it's just my hopes and dreams floating away. What are those? You're like a mugwai from Gremlins.
Not seen it. I think I know what you're talking about.
Don't get them wet.
Don't get them
Don't
wet.
feed them after midnight. And
Yeah.
now I forgot the point I was trying to make.
That's me. Don't get me hot and don't jostle me
Yeah. Then I'll turn into a
after
gremlin.
midnight.
Yeah. Don't jostle Rye. Don't jostle a sweaty Rye after midnight.
So what happened was I moved to the very, very back. And what triggered me in the end was I got jostled a few times, but this big dude, probably like a head taller than I was.
Built for jostle.
I haven't changed my height since then.
The man was built for the jostle.
I was a lot smaller back then, 3 weeks ago. Planted his hand fairly, squarely on kind of mid-back.
Mid-back.
And held it for I'm not joking. I count because I counted it later in my head, 1, 2, 3. I feel like a solid 3 seconds. Man, solid big hand on my back.
Solid man hand.
I was manhandled by this.
Solid man. That's a good album name. Solid
and
man hand.
solid man hand. And I was like, I'm out. Also, the fucking tenacity of someone to put their fucking hands on a stranger like that is insane to me.
Would you call that more of a sensual jostle?
A jostle, I feel, is a very temporary, I've just moved past you and you're kind of.
So this was just a violation.
This is a straight up violation. This is a straight up
on the
violation.
mid-back.
So I went out to the bar and just had a
call-
beer by myself, sat and did some writing, I think. But I was thinking about that situation of if this was pre-COVID, I don't know if I would have
Cared as much?
I think I would have cared, but I wouldn't have given myself that permission to just exit the area. To just
Oh, you would have just gone okay, well, that happened. I'll just sit here with it, stand here with it.
and still be taken out of the scenario. I would still be I'm not enjoying this.
But you wouldn't take
But this is what events are.
yourself out of the space.
Yeah.
You'd not enjoy it in the space.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now there's this feeling of I'm out. I'm allowing myself to just tap the fuck out.
Right. Yes. Okay.
I don't know if that's, but my point was in this particular scenario, because I'm not applying this to anyone else. This is purely for myself. But I think there's that feeling of do you? I think it's good to give yourself that permission, right? To allow yourself to remove yourself, to just not enjoy a thing that's supposed to be enjoyable. I'm at an event, I'm at a gig. This is great. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't.
You're allowed to not enjoy it.
I don't like hand back.
No.
No hand back. No go.
I want that motherfucker to know that they ruined someone's night.
Fuck you, hand back man.
I feel like it's a very classic. What's the word? It just feels like someone who's never been fucking stood up to or told no before, that they just feel like they can go through life.
So, did you feel like it was a condescending or aggressive or passive?
It wasn't aggressive or anything like that.
Was it just like?
I think it's a lack of consideration for the way other people are moving around in life.
Because there's other just a little tap of the shoulder, just like.
Oh, 100%.
Just little, I mean,
I'll give a little bit sorry, and try
on the side of the arm.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't.
Not on top. On top feels a bit too controlling.
That maybe I hate someone goes one finger and taps me on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I generally rage.
That feels like you're gonna turn around and they are fucking wagging a finger in your face, telling you off.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not my mum.
No, don't touch people if they haven't been asked to be touched. Consent, that's the word.
Consent.
Yep. On that note.
I don't know if that's is that my final point? I don't know.
Do we want to leave that on consent?
We can leave it on consent.
Oh, I mean, unless you just want to talk.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think the point of just giving yourself permission to
do what you want.
Do what you want.
Stay in space.
Decide where your energy levels are and how much you can put up with. Especially because all these things are just to try and have fun. What? Are you wait?
You're just different than you come back in.
Yeah,
You remember the situation. You're visceral. Just and another thing. His hands were soft and supple. Sorry, what were you saying?
What I really hate is that it ended. I was
Literally
devastated.
kind of ruining everything you just ranted about. I can still picture his phalanges on my mid back.
They were like freshly filled hot dogs. You know, before the skin of the hot dog is settled.
Yep.
This has been the Vibe Union podcast.
Music by Sixpence.
Give yourself permission to just
How do you
chill
like
out.
your hot dogs? Right down in the comments. And the best answer gets a free hot dog. And look out for Raya's address as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the. I'll drop it in the comments.
Yeah. PO box him. You said something before. So I can't remember. Tiny desks. Yeah, find little tiny desks because you wanted a tiny desk.
Yeah, actually,
I forgot to make that joke at the time.
I would love it if people gave me some tiny desks.
Yeah, literally. So if you're going to come to our events, just bring tiny desks and give it to Ryan.
I love it.
Goodbye.
Catch you at the next event. Bye.